Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. How is everyone doing today? Hopefully everybody is doing well. Today's video, guys, is actually a request. I had a viewer ask me a couple of weeks back if I would be, or they thought it would be cool if I ranked the Halloween franchise and just kind of ranked the movies in the franchise, which I've never done before. I think out of all the horror franchises, the only one I've ever done is Friday the 13th. I'm pretty sure. And I've never done a Halloween one before, and I'm sure my tier of movies has probably changed over the course of the last few years. So I said I would gladly do that, and I think it would be a lot of fun. But I did have to wait a little bit because I had to rewatch. I think I rewatched 4, 5, and 6 because I didn't really remember them too well. And I'm glad I rewatched one of those because the ranking is a lot different now than it would have been if I would have just did it without watching, because the last time I watched it, I don't remember not liking it too much, and I liked it quite a bit more this time. So I'm glad I went back and rewatched it. Your rankings, will always change. Like, your rankings of movies usually always change. Depends on what kind of mood you're in. Depends on how many times you've seen it. So this list is my own personal opinion. I'm sure everybody's is going to be different. Mine 2 years ago is probably different than it is today. But anyway, this is just kind of what I'm feeling right now with the Halloween franchise. Like I said, a year from now could be different. But this is my list right now. So I think we're going to delve right into it. There's 13 movies. I think I have them all here. Hopefully there's only 13. Hopefully there's not one that I'm forgetting somewhere. But yeah, we're going to go in and we are going to start this list off. And we are going to start it off with a couple, and I'm going worst to best, if you haven't figured that out. I'm going with a couple films that are really, really not very good. And it's the Rob Zombies, Halloween 1 and Halloween 2, although this is a very cool steelbook. If I had to rank it, the worst, in my opinion, I think I dislike 2 a little bit more than I dislike 1, but they're both equally pretty bad. And honestly, the only reason I have this steelbook is because the steelbook is cool, and when I picked it up, it had been a long time since I've saw these movies, and I wanted to rewatch it. I picked it up either last year or the year before, whenever these little Walmart steelbooks came out. And these movies are not very good. I'm not a big Rob Zombie fan. I think they're too long. I think in the first one, they cover his backstory of Michael Myers way too much. They could have edited the heck out of that and made it way shorter. And somebody needs to tell Rob Zombie that just because it's your wife doesn't mean she's qualified to star in every movie that you do. She's really not a very good actress. I'm not a big fan of her, and I'm not a big fan of Rob Zombie. So that's why these are definitely at the top of the list. So probably part 2 and then part 1, not very good. Next up, we're going to a movie that when I watched it, I did a review and I said, I think the title of it was, I loved this movie, but not for this trilogy. And I rewatched it not that long ago, and this movie kind of sucks. I don't know what I was thinking. And that's Halloween Ends. Show the side there. This is that steelbook trilogy. Halloween Ends, it just kind of fails across the board. It's really not, I'm going to show off the steelbook just because it's really cool. It's just not really very good. When I rewatched it, I really didn't care for the Corey Cunningham character. The fight between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers is weak. Michael Myers is hardly in it. Corey Cunningham, I think that was his name. He wears the Michael Myers mask and does killing during half the movie. Michael Myers really isn't even in it that much. The movie's really not about him. It was really a weak finale for something that was supposed to be a final battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode. It really was a disappointment. I do believe that if they marketed it different and it came out at a different time and not the trilogy, people may have received it better. But overall, it's just not that good of a movie. And I'm just not a big fan. I don't know if it's one that I'm going to be watching again anytime soon. Next on the list, we got Halloween Resurrection. And I know a lot of people like Halloween Resurrection, so this might be a little controversial pick. I know people like Busta Rhymes, and don't get me wrong, I like me a little Busta Rhymes as well. But even him, I don't think he could have saved this movie. I just found it to be kind of dull, lame. I hated pretty much every one of the characters, even Busta Rhymes' character. I really didn't think was that great. I guess I could have rewatched it. It's been a couple years since I've seen it, but I've seen this movie a couple of times, and maybe even 3. And all the times I've seen it, half the time I feel like I'm scrolling through my phone halfway through, and I'm not a big fan. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again in a few years. Maybe my opinion will change. But as of right now, I don't know. I don't think it's all that good. Next on the list is another one that I did rewatch recently over the last week. And it's still not one of my favorites. It is high up on this list. But I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed it much more the second time that I watched it since I've gotten this 4K. The first time I watched it, I hadn't seen it since I was probably a kid. I didn't really remember it. And I just think I'd watched too many Halloween movies at that point. I think it was the end of Halloween, and I was just kind of sick of it. And when I rewatched it this time, I enjoyed it much more. And that is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's out of like the top 5 movies, like the top 5 movies that came out in like the 70s into the 80s. Like this is probably one of the worst ones. It's really not very good. The kills are kind of weak. I don't think they're anything all that great. I'm not a big fan of the story. The acting's pretty bad, but it was still more enjoyable this time around. I didn't dislike it as much, but it's still not that great of a film. It's definitely not one of my personal favorites. But who knows? Maybe I'll watch it again in a year or two and I'll love it and I'll like it even more, and it'll be one of my favorites. But I was a little surprised that I did enjoy it a lot more than I remember. Like, and I didn't despise it like I did when I watched it 2 years ago or whenever it was when those 4Ks came out. Next up is another movie that I watched again about a year ago, and this was one that I actually enjoyed a lot more the second time, and that's Halloween Kills. Show the side there, and I'll show you the back. The back's really cool. This Steelbook box set is really cool. Halloween Kills, I mean, the Evil Dies Tonight chant gets a little bit old. It's a little bit preachy at times, but I will tell you, the kills in here are very cool. I was a big fan of the kills. And the movie it didn't annoy me like it did the first time. The first time I watched it, I really did not like it, like, at all. And this time, I quite enjoyed it. Maybe I'll watch it again and I won't like it. Maybe I was just in the mood for it. I don't know. I mean, there's parts of it that are not that great. And, I mean, it's definitely far from, like, a perfect film. But it is a lot of fun, and you do see a lot of kills. And that's granted why, that's why it's called Halloween Kills. But yeah, this one surprised me the second time through because I really did not like it the first time I saw it. So I was a little bit surprised that I didn't absolutely hate it. I kind of enjoyed it. So next up, we have the original Halloween from 2018. And out of those 3 that was Joseph Gordon-Green, is that who directed it? This one is definitely the best out of those 3. I didn't think it was a bad film at all. I really actually quite enjoyed it. Some of the kids I found to be a little bit annoying. Like in some of those earlier ones, like the original Halloween, I wasn't annoyed by the kids in that. The kids in this are just kind of annoying characters. I couldn't really get into them. I don't know. That part really kind of bothered me. But other than that, I did actually really enjoy it. I love the whole opening scene where he shows up at the insane asylum and he pulls out the Michael Myers mask and he's yelling, Michael, or whatever it is that he's yelling, and then it cuts to the credits. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, overall, the 2018 Halloween has definitely grown on me. I like it more and more every time I watch it. All right, guys, we are down to the final, 6? So now this was one of the ones I was talking about that I watched this week that I really remember not liking at all, and really, really liked it a lot. I mean, a lot. When I watched it, was it 5 days ago maybe I watched it? And that's Halloween 6, I guess is technically what it is, The Curse of Michael Myers. I remember not liking this, and I really, really enjoyed it. When I watched it last week, I was like, oh, wow, like this movie is way better than I remember it being. I mean, granted, it's not great. Some of the acting's bad. The Paul Rudd character is kind of weird. The whole ending is kind of weird. But overall, I think it's really cool. It's got some great Halloween scenes. The characters, I think, were kind of interesting. And yeah, this one really surprised me. Like I said, I used to not like this movie at all. And I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, Michael Myers, The Curse of Michael Myers, definitely growing on me. It made it a lot higher on this list than it would have probably a year ago. So I'm glad I rewatched it. Next one on the list, now we are at the top 5, guys. This is one I've always enjoyed. I've always just loved the feel of the Halloween. I love the opening. Everything about it, I really, really enjoy. And that's Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And of course, this is the first movies that Michael Myers is in after Season of the Witch. And I just thought it was a great comeback. I love the whole opening. I love the whole kind of road movie vibe that it has with Loomis trying to chase down Michael Myers and get to the town and warn the town, which he kind of does in a lot of the movies. But I've always just liked the vibe of this one. I mean, they all have, they all take place on Halloween and have Halloween vibes. But for some reason, this one really has Halloween vibes for me. And I really do enjoy it. Like I said, it's not a perfect film. A lot of the movies on this list are not perfect films, but they're still slashers and they're a lot of fun. And Halloween 4 is definitely a fun film. All right, guys, final 4. Now, the next one is one that I've only seen a couple of times, and I don't know. The more I see it, actually, I might have seen it 3 times, and the more I see it, the more I really like it. I like it more and more. That's Halloween H2O. This one, I don't know. I love the opening, for starters. Just the whole opening sequence, I think, is fantastic. I love the opening sequence to this movie. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it takes place at a school. It's the same school that Scream was filmed at. One of the Scream movies, maybe it was Scream 2 or 3. But the whole school vibe just kind of reminded me of Scream. And I remember when this came out, I was in high school or just out of high school. And I was really getting into those kind of late 90s, early 2000s horror movies. And this just kind of had that vibe. And it's really a fun film. There's some great kills. And overall, I just really enjoy it. It has a great, late 90s, early 2000 vibe to it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. Definitely check out H2O if you've never seen it. All right, guys. Next, this might be kind of a controversial spot for this movie. Some people love this movie. Some people hate this movie. For a lot of people, I know it's grown on them, and it's become one of the personal favorites. And for me as well, it has become one of my personal favorites, and it's one that doesn't even have Michael Myers in it. And that's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Yeah, there's no Michael Myers in this, but it's just an all-around really cool, clever, fun Halloween film. I mean, it just screams Halloween. In fact, out of all the Halloween movies, I feel like this one probably has the most Halloween vibe, really, out of any of them. I mean, they all do, but for some reason, this one really has a Halloween vibe. I think it's just a really cool, unique idea. It's got Tom Atkins? Is that his name? Yeah, Tom Atkins. And I love Tom Atkins. And he's great in this film. It's just a lot of fun. I mean, if you've never seen Halloween 3, I would definitely recommend it. And the thing that I like about this movie is it has nothing to do with the rest of, the Halloween franchise. This is just a standalone. I mean, you can really watch most of these Halloween movies kind of at any time and know what's going on. But this one is kind of nice because it's kind of just out of the element of that franchise and that world, and it just kind of completely does its own thing. And it's just a great Halloween film. It's just definitely one you should check out. And if you've never seen Halloween 3, I highly recommend it. All right, guys, so now we're down to the final 2, and it's always a toss-up between the final 2. Which one is coming in first, which one's coming in second. My opinions on it have changed over the years, and to be quite honest with you, when I watch it, I usually watch 1 and 2 together. But as of lately, my number 1 choice might not be the popular opinion. So coming in at number 2 we got the original Halloween. I love the original Halloween. It's fantastic. It's suspenseful. It doesn't need to show too much like goriness to get its point across. It's a terrifying film. Not so much anymore, but like when I was younger, I remember watching it. I remember it being very creepy. But at the same time, I'm at a point in my life where I think I have seen this hands down more than any of the other Halloween movies in the Halloween franchise. And you get a little sick of it sometimes. Not that I'm sick of it. I can still watch this every single year. But once in a while, I just kind of feel like, all right, I have seen Halloween so many times on regular TV. I've had it on VHS, I've had it on DVD, I've had it on Blu-ray, and now I have it on 4K, and I've just watched it more so than any of the other ones. And you just kind of know what's coming all the time. And so for right now, this one would be number 2. It would not be my number 1 choice, but it's still, hands down, is a phenomenal film and is definitely always gonna be in the top 2 spots. Well, that leaves the last one, guys. And it's just the one that the last couple times I watched it, it's the one I've really been enjoying the most. Like I said, I usually watch 1 and 2 together simultaneously because they just flow together. They take place right after one another. But yeah, Halloween 2. I think they amped up the kills. I think the kills are a lot cooler. I don't know. I just feel like they took everything from Halloween and amped it up more. It's not a better film. Halloween 1 is definitely the better film. But in my opinion, this is the one that I enjoy the most as of right now. At one point, this was actually probably would have been like number 3 or 4 on my list. But right now, it's number 1 because the last couple times I've watched it, this is just one that I've really, really enjoyed. I mean, granted, Laurie Strode's in a hospital bed during 90% of the film, but I don't know. There's something about this movie, and I think it's one that just grows on people and gets more and more popular over time, and that's definitely the case for me. I absolutely love Halloween 2, and that's why I have it right now in my number 1 spot. That's it, guys. That's all I got for you today. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know you guys like what I'm doing. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Now I'll see you guys in the next video. And please, definitely in the comments below, let me know your ranking. What do you think of my ranking? Like I said, this is my own personal opinion. My rankings have always changed. I'm sure some of the stuff that I got way high up on the list, you might have closer down to the bottom. Some of the ones that I had that were my favorite, you might have more in like the middle. I don't really know, but definitely let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know what people's rankings are in these movies, and let me know, am I wrong in some of these, like especially like Halloween Resurrection? Should I rewatch it again? Am I missing something? Let me know in the comments below, guys. I love talking about this. But yeah, you guys are amazing as always. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.